Hello and welcome to Didi Nagaland. In the studio we have experts from PhD department to talk to us about water, Jal Jeevan mission. And with us in the studio, please welcome Engineer Nirye Nisa, Executive Engineer, and Engineer Mazivil Kike, SDO PhD, Kohima Rural Division. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio. And today on Jal Jeevan mission, I have some specific questions. These questions, I believe, will help all our viewers out there to understand what Jal Jeevan mission is all about. And thank you so much for coming to the studio. And shall we start then?
Yeah.
Yes. The first question to you, Nirye. What is Jal Jeevan mission and why is JJM mission different from other water supply programs?
Okay, so Jal Jeevan mission is translated as Water is Life mission. It is a flagship program started by the center government and it began in the year 2019, will continue till 2024. This program is aimed to provide potable drinking water supply to every rural household in India and also to the schools and Anganwadi centers, to public utility buildings like community halls, primary health centers, and even to kettle troughs, etc.
I see.
So Jal Jeevan mission is different from other previously executed water supply schemes in the sense that this is a type of program which is aimed to bring about public sector reform. And by that I mean to say that earlier when water supply schemes were executed in the villages, it was expected that the government agency will complete the water supply scheme and also aid towards the operation and maintenance of the water supply system. But under Jal Jeevan mission, we call it the Jan Andolan or the public mass participation, where the village community has a huge role to play.
I see.
And the intention of the mass participation is so that the villagers will get a sense of ownership towards the project, and they will look after the planning of the scheme, take part in the implementation or execution of the project, and after the completion of the project, they are supposed to fully take control of the operation and maintenance of the project. And again, we have to understand here that water is a state subject. As per the 73rd Amendment of the Constitution of India in 1992, the Constitution subjected 29 subjects to the Gram Panchayats or the village councils in our case. So out of the 29 subjects assigned for the village councils to look after, water supply is a top priority.
I see.
We can see that in the Nagaland Village and Area Council Act of 1978 also, where it is clearly mentioned under powers and duties that the village council is bound to look after and supervise the maintenance of the water supply. So therefore, JJM invites that all villages should constitute a village water and sanitation committee. In Nagaland, we call it the Watsan committee. So out of 1,502 villages registered with us in our PHE portal, we have 1,215 Watsans constituted till date. So JJM is different from other water supply schemes again for this very reason that the village which is selected to avail the JJM scheme should mandatorily contribute 5% of the project cost, and this 5% is the minimum. They can even go beyond the 5%.
I see.
So these are the few reasons why JJM is quite different from other previously executed water supply schemes in the state.
And with the community participation, I am sure it should be successful. Well, I would like to make this quick rephrase. Jal Jeevan mission kwadu mohan pichi lamba kotha khatabra ko bolado pani bal sapa pani khabole karne etia mohant Jal Jeevan mission idu government pra program idu suru kuri ase tade very important mohant janibole lagya du idu government pra ani kine dije aro government pra ha sai thagibo idu nohoy ani dije gule busti manu khan villagers khan bi itu mili kine sabole lage aro tade aro important ekta point du 5% to busti manu khan bi contribute kurigine kaam kuribole lage enega kurigine busti manu bra itu more malik ase itu mohan ekta society de ekta adat ahi jase government laga ase na enega he kuri die do itu nohogine more khan laga ase itu babna ahi kine itu kuri level aro itia 1502 villages there jabole government program create holibi komba bosti itia puncha nai 75% or more the I think target has been
70%.
achieved 70%. Well the holibi apnar bosti manukhan jodi idu program sai ase gogine itu program to apnar bi kurulo mona chagule definitely government department PhD de jaigine itu inquiry kuribi aro more can be support kurubo kogine kurisogule do I'm sure it will come to you as well. Well moving on with the next question to Mazivil, what are the aims and objectives of Jal Jeevan mission?
This is a very important topic. Thanks to DD Nagaland for inviting us so that we can give some kind of the big picture of JJM and what are the government plans to do for the next 2 to 3 years. This JJM is a flagship program. It was announced by our Prime Minister calling it the Jal Jeevan mission. Well, the main aim and the objective is to provide functional household tap connections to every household in the state. And it is also to provide functional household tap connection to schools, Anganwadi centers, and community buildings. It is also to monitor that the functional household tap connections are working properly or not. And one of the main objectives of this Jal Jeevan mission is to create a sense of ownership by way of contribution in kind, labor, or even in cash. And another key important aspect is that it is to ensure sustainability of water supply system, that is the water source and water infrastructures. And one of the main aim and the main idea here is to develop human resource, which is the need of the hour in the sector of plumbing as well as construction in the long and in short term. And to create awareness on the importance of safe drinking water and involvement of stakeholders so that it will make water everyone's business. The minimum prescribed level of water supply for rural is 55 LPCD. And to achieve this, we have to go for retrofitting of the completed and the ongoing schemes.
I see.
So these are the broad perspective of the Jal Jeevan mission.
Thank you so much. Next to you, Nirie, what are the components of Jal Jeevan mission?
So under Jal Jeevan mission, we have 3 key components. The first one, as we have mentioned before, is providing the functional household tap connection. That in itself is very vast. But second component is the support part, and every Jal Jeevan scheme will entail 5% of the cost as a support fund. So this support fund is basically used to promote the program like we are doing today. So in IEC activities, we go to village, we meet the communities, we meet the citizens, and we tell them about Jal Jeevan mission. We also conduct skill trainings for plumbers, masons, welders, electricians, and the human resource is built up to man the water supply system. And we have the third component, which is called the water quality and monitoring surveillance. So under this, we do a lot of visits to the villages, and we test the water sample. We distribute field testing kits. We conduct the training for the villagers. And under JJM, it is mandatory that 5 women from every village should come and get this training to use the field testing kit and to test their water sources, be it at the source, be it in their wells, be it at their household levels. And the water has to be tested twice in a year. We call it the pre-monsoon and the post-monsoon test. So 3 key components I would like to mention here.
I see. I think that's very important, and it was very interesting to note that in this mission you have specifically made women play greater role, and in this age and time we need more women to come out and take up more responsibilities, get a greater role. And in a normal patriarchal society, maiki manu ki jagina pani test kurubo ana babi thakibo aro jodi apnar laga busti de watson committee de maiki khange itu kuradu maiki khan ki kurubo ana babi thakiso gole itu committee member khan janibi maiki manu bi pare bishi pare aro etia do apnar khan karne example perfect mohan yade eman sundur maiki ekta hai aigina mohan ke bi janai dia ase itu karne maiki khan ke tai khan ke kam kurubule government policy dia do itu effectively carry kurile bal sob manala gorde pani ahigina khuligina borton dulabo hat dulabo na itu kurile kiman aram ase aro sapa bal pani Mohan aro continue kurubo Mohan engineer sap logo Mizivil, what are the plans for Nagaland with respect to JJM?
Yes, this JJM is specifically aimed for the rural area for providing FHTC to all the household, and it is a larger agenda to address. In Nagaland there are 385,000 households, and the total household covered during the start of JJM was around 14,000 households. The achievement till date is 85,000 households, and the balance 3 lakhs household is to be covered before 2023.
I see.
The government of India target is 2024, but for Nagaland we have fast forward and we are going to complete it by 2023. So the idea is to provide pipe water to the rural areas, especially benefiting women. And in rural areas, women are the ones who fetch water, and the water they fetch is not potable. And the poor families, they have a lot of waterborne diseases, and if we provide this tap water, it will definitely help the poor people, especially in controlling of these waterborne diseases like cholera, typhoid, and encephalitis. And once this tap water is given, our children, especially who are the worst sufferer of waterborne diseases, it will help their physical and mental development also.
Well, that's a very ambitious and very well thought out plan we have for our people, and I know if we the plan is for 2024, but we are fast forwarding it, then definitely that's salute to the department for the good work that you are doing, and also the cooperation and support that the villagers have given, and those villagers who are yet to come forward, it's time to take the lead as well. Moving on, Nirye, how are the schemes planned?
Can I also supplement something which Mezaville has already stated? So, Kipiri is the only aspirational district in Nagaland. So, Kipiri is targeted to complete this year. The whole district consisting of 155 villages. So, all of them have been brought under the Jal Jeevan scheme, and with Kipiri, Kohima will soon follow next. And you were asking about how the JJM schemes are planned.
Yes.
So, the process is quite elaborate. Firstly, we go to the village, and a meeting is conducted with the village council, where at least 80% of the village folks is expected to attend. And then a joint survey is conducted between the PhD engineers and the village council or the Watson, and they go around the village looking after the, inspecting the village. They will make a plan which is called the Village Action Plan. And this is a very important document because in this document we are recording the number of households that are in the village. We are looking at the existing infrastructure. We are mapping out the households. And even the village are participating in the making of the report, so they are giving us assurances or allocating us the land where the infrastructures can be built up, which is again very important. And then the water source is also surveyed. Then the water budget is calculated, like so much population, the water source has enough or not, or to supplement the existing system, what is to be done. All those are outcomes of the joint survey between the department and the villagers. So the VAP documents all those things. And after that, the VAP is submitted to the office, and thereby our engineers will prepare the estimates. And the technical estimate is prepared based on the per capita demand of the village and per capita cost permissible as per JJM allowances. So we have to also understand that JJM is not an infrastructure based program. It is a public utility providing a scheme. So here the villagers cannot just expect lots of fund to come and make them very lavish. JJM is a scheme which is asking us to prepare frugal engineering, economic engineering estimates. So therefore we prepare the technical estimates based on the population, based on the household. So for an example, if a village is big and it has a greater number of households, then the estimated cost can be high. But for many villages in Nagaland, say out of 1,502, we have around 526 which are less than 100 households. So those are very unplanned villages, and the houses are also very scattered. So when we bring them under the purview of the JJM financial allowances, the per capita cost really goes up. So maybe the challenge is for those villages which are fewer in numbers of household and less more scattered. They have this responsibility to maybe even contribute more than 5% in order to meet the capex of the estimated cost.
I see. I think these are very important points that all of us need to keep in mind. Super important is the cooperation and sob manubi government laga program ase kuladu na free anaga nole dangor ekta hibo ane bhabi thake holibi etia time de dangor free itula dimag pro lagine more laga busti de pani nai khabole bal sapa pani nai etia याते इंजीनियर साहब का नाइगिने तहन अपनार बुस्ती मानु सब मिलिगिने विलेज एक्शन प्लान बनावो कोगिने आहादम दे सब कोऑपरेशन दिबी दिगिने की बुस्ती करने बाल होबो इतु भाबिबी आरो साप खान लगा प्रॉब्लम भी थागिले इतु भी अंडरस्टैंड करबो गोल दु की आसे सापा पानी আহিগিনে বুস্তি দে থাকিব মানু খান ইতু খাব আগে দে ইঞ্জিনিয়ার সাহেব প্রা কোৱা নিচিনা বিমাৰ আলাগ আলাগ থাকা খান তাতে ব্ৰাবি মুখ পাব ইতু কাৰণে হে সাপা পানী বেছি ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট আছে মহান আৰু ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰ মেজভিল লগত যাব JJM to কেনেকা ইমপ্লিমেন্ট কৰে তো
this JJM implementation is done through PHE department. This PHE is a nodal department, and actual implementation is done by the Watson and the village councils. Of course, in some cases where some other parties also they take up the work, provided they take the consent of the Watson and the villagers.
I see.
And this it starts with the VAP, Village Action Plan, as discussed earlier, with the participation of all the villagers. And from day one, the villagers are consulted because they know what is best for them, and they are taken into planning and even in implementation. So after all these are done, we send the schemes, the DPR for scrutiny. We send it to Directorate, Chief Engineer's Office for scrutiny, and then before that, they did WSM. They check the DPR, and then if it is okay, they send it to Chief Engineer's Office. And after scrutinizing of all those DPR, the actual implementation starts. And in the meantime, again, there is another third party who checks the works, whether the works are done as per specification or not. And the chairman of DWSM, that is DC, is the one who will give the final go, and then after only the bill will be released. So there are a lot of process even to release the bill. And once these schemes are completed, the Watson committees take over for operation and maintenance. And this JJM program, actually it's under the Jal Shakti Ministry, which has all the perspective like irrigation, water resources, and the special emphasis given to the part is drinking water and sanitation. So therefore, now what we are talking about is providing water supply to the rural villages, and that is the real mission of JJM. And this will ensure water security across the state, and this is what we are discussing today.
I see. So, Engineer, I just want to ask this one as well. There's suppose because now Smart City Kifiri is the program is going on in Kifiri as a smart city. Then you said it's likely. Then you'll come back to Smart City Kohima. So is it going to be Kohima town or villages in Kohima district?
Villages.
It's for the villages.
Villages in Kohima district.
Yes, this is for the rural
areas.
Yes.
Now, if any village, let's say from Twinsang, let's say from Noklak, if any village wants to avail this opportunity, who should they approach? The DC or the PHED?
PHE department will take care, because this program is for all the rural villages, all the rural areas. So they don't need to approach.
Acha.
So as said earlier, by 2023 we are going to cover all the villages.
Acha. Okay, that's just my curiosity again. Coming back to you, Nirye, community participation kanaga chulias?
Okay, so community participation also varies. I can cite some villages which have been doing really well, say like Visema village under Kohima district, Jeju village under Kohima district, then Khar village under Mogokchung, Vedami under Zenheboto, and many villages under Noklak and Twinsang, which you mentioned earlier. The community participation has been very positive and very remarkable.
I see.
And that has sort of created a model like, a model for other villages to follow. And like my counterpart here mentioned, in the village there are many other schemes besides JJM which deals with water supply. So like I said earlier, that water becomes a state subject, and the village council is supposed to look after the water supply infrastructure. So the VDB fund should also be used, or the LAPD available with them, MNREGA, and also there are other funds from maybe departments like forest, water resource, or land resource, RD, wherever this topic of water conservation, water sustainability, rejuvenation funds are available, all those should be projected in the village action plan, and all those should be used for mobilizing the success of the water supply scheme in the village. In some villages it has been very challenging, so the community participation is based on the response and attitude of the villagers themselves, and I will say that it varies from village to village.
Okay, but it's very, very good to learn that some of the villagers that you have pointed out, even villages in Kohima, villages in Noklak, Twinsang, Zonaboto, all these villages were really cooperating with your department and performing well. Salam to all of them, because this is very important. And I'm also tempted because itia amar busti de program to department alag khan porta higine program kure, to itia amar busti de leaders khan government department programs khan convergence karne nohole यदि भी पानी लगा डिपार्टमेंट एकता काम करो यदि भी एकता काम करो तादि भी एकता काम करो सब काम करो होली भी लास्ट है गॉड पानी खाबला हाथ नहीं बोले तो मतलब है नहीं होइसे एदु कारणे मिलली किने बस्ती मानु लीडर्स खान कोई किने पुश करी किने मिलली किने एकता होबले पारिसे बोले तो इतु बेसी बाल होबो एदु कारणे इतु भाबी साबी आरो सब अलग अलग हम अलग अलग टाइम दे आइबो सब के कोई किने मिलली किने करूबले पारा एकता करिसे बोले बेसी डांगर होबो मोर नितिया नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इंजीनियर साहब लोगो जाबो what are the types of schemes taken up by PhD as of now?
In PhD department, there are two verticals. So one vertical deals with sanitation aspects like SBM, support activities and water quality monitoring for JJM. So that vertical is called WSSO. And the other vertical looks after water supply for both urban and rural water supply. Apart from this JJM, there are various programs like SBM, where construction of individual household latrine, construction of community latrine, and even solid and liquid waste management. These are being implemented. And the various types of schemes implemented for water supply, especially both for rural and urban, is one is the gravity-based water supply, and the other is pumping water supply. And we also go for ground exploration, that is groundwater management like deep tube wells, and even rainwater harvesting.
अच्छा इंजन सब क्वेश्चन तो बिस्सी है सर टाइम है खता हुआ है सर ओले भी बिस्सी इम्पोर्टेंट मैसेजेस इम्पोर्टेंट कथा का नोला है सर इधर गाने इधर I wish I have 1 full hour to be able to put all these questions to you and you know so that all the people can learn of the different things that are happening. I was just ekta mon dia ha farafak aha do tourism industry de muhan etia hoy tourism to covid karne etia muri ase hole be bosti khan de homestay khan kurubule promote kura de tahan toilet na thake bal toilet to bahar manu ahile toilet ekta bal lage to idu etia tourism ministry aro PhD laga idu program de mili gine bosti manu khan bra itu khetaise gole to itu beshi bal hobo do noy gine dusra jaga bra ahibole ruki thakile to kitia hibo na jane rasta bi naga ase itia but anyway thanks for all the information I'm just trying to you know hilai dia ase babi sabi itia sab khan bi ko ase to mili gine homestay khan de lettering khan banawole aru pani bi bal ahi ase itu karne babi sabi aru itia madam logo jabo ni rie mohan Nagaland to ki free pie lobo na only dibo ko atem de kenaga hoy ki gane pani to lobole mon pani sob manu lage aru mor kohima de thaga manu to aru bi bishi lage only bi pani laga bill tirad ki apnar la comment ki ase tada
okay so before the onset of JJM after communitization Nagaland has a very good reputation of collecting water fees in some of the villages, not the entire rural villages I'm mentioning.
So true of us.
Yes. So some villages, they have understood that they have a responsibility towards their in-village water infrastructure. So they have been collecting revenues of 20 rupees, 50 rupees, 100 rupees like that. Even under JJM, we are promoting that kind of user charge. So this O&M will be based on the villages themselves. So to do that, they have to collect some form of revenue. This money will not be detected by the department. It will depend on the villages. It can be any amount. It will not be shared with the department nor given to the government. It will be an amount used by the villages for repair and maintenance work, to pay someone who is running around doing maintenance work, or in case of pumping projects, we need money for electricity bill, repair of the pumps. Those are the components.
Very important.
Yes.
And you're not paying to anybody else, but you're saving money. Lagya dem de ho thabo gule na pai do idu ane saving money so that piche de taratari lagya dem de uthai gina kaam gurula parbo nole do aro एक हफ्ता एक महीना एक साल और पानी नाहिकिने थाकिबो तो खान बुकिकिने उ नीचे दे जागिना और पानी बुकिकिने उठाबो ना बेसी दिगदार carrying on with you again Nirie what are the importance सब मानु भी जानिबोले लागे मोहन पानी लगा स्कीम खान को आसोले पानी ला importance किमान आसे दो एक बार कोइ दिबी
so clean water is so important and it is an exhaustible resource itu hodai thakibole la na hoy khotom bi hoise itu karne pani kwadamde the villagers have to understand that we have to protect our water sources we have to have ingenious methods to contain the water to conserve water to sustain our resources to even harvest rainwater efficiently and to recharge the groundwater. Kua khan sukha hoise, rivers khan de pani itu sal komti hoise koise. Aro rainfall is also very erratic this year. And it has been like that for many years now. Drought-like situation kan ahibole chances kan ase. Itu karne we have to be in a position where we understand water subject so much more than we are taking it very lightly, I believe.
Taking the example of Kohima town, if Pule Baje range forest is gone, then Kohima to Sukkaram. Itu garne forest preservation, conservation is important. Nohole tu mohan pani hai Sukkaram hai jabo. Anyway, I'm rushing it off. But coming back to you, Mazavil. Iman government program Balgraj, you have been doing a lot of programs and you've been putting so much of efforts. What has been the response from the beneficiaries to this program?
This JJM is an upgraded version of NRDWP and now it aims at providing water supply to all the rural household and this is where the community and civil society can play the role. And it is an integrated approach and the approach is not only drinking water supply but it covers sanitation also. And this integrated approach is basically aimed at providing clean water to the household and at the end of the day it is for better health facility. And it is also part of infrastructure development and here we cannot talk about water in isolation because this will boost water conservation, skill development, institutions, etc. And it is a very comprehensive approach taken by the government. And so to say, in a wider sense, it is to inculcate a responsible and responsive relationship with water. And at the end, the sense of belongingness also will be created. And like you said, this mission, this very particular mission is witnessing a lot of participation from across all levels of society. The stakeholders are coming forward in their contribution and especially if time permits I would like to share some success stories but I think today time will not permit.
Maybe another time.
Yes. So this type of community participation and contribution is setting a good trend for other villages to follow. So there are of course there are certain challenges and problems faced during implementation, but there are some positive sides which we are getting from the villagers.
And these positive things, how little it may be, but these positive things, encourages us, motivates us, and help us to move on despite the difficulties that we face. And I'm sure. I'm pakka 100% sure it's not an easy task for you to be, implementing a project. In Nagaland, what we have started to think is project pabo itu dehe babedo dibo mobi mola saipra dibo itu do nai hoje. But Nirie and Mazavil, thank you so much for coming to the studio and talking to us. Maybe we hope to find another time to be able to bring more information to our viewers. And although you really wanted to take the names of all those villagers and all those committees who have done so successfully, supported this program, another program. But for now, thank you so much for talking to us.
It was a pleasure.
And before I conclude, this is just one point. Pani বেছি ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট আছে কোৱাটো মই নকৰিলে বি আপুনি জানি আছে পানী নাখাকিনে বহি যাবি না একবাৰ তাতে দুখ পাদু জানিব বিমাৰ আলাগ আলাগ আহিব পানী চাপা লেতেৰা এইটো নহয় পানীহে নাখাকিনে অলপ বহি যাবি দুখ পাই যাব বাট নাখালে বি পানীটো লাগে এইটো নিচিনা পানী বাল থাকিছে বোলে এইটো জল জীৱন মিছন পৰা পানী বাল আনি কিনে দিবলৈ মন আছে মহান সব মানুহ কোঅপাৰেট কৰি কিনে কোঅপাৰেট কম পৰা বাল কৰি আছে দুহানকে বেছি ডাঙৰ চালাম হলিবি এতিয়া মহান মিলি কিনে এইটো কোঅপাৰেট কৰিবলৈ লাগে মহানবি মহানলা ৰল প্লে কৰিবলৈ লাগে 5% কৈ আছে 10% বি দিবি না মহান টাকা ওলাই কিনে নেদিলিবি মহান কি পাৰে মহান লাহাত পৰা মহান ৰিসোৰ্সেস কি লোকেলি এভেইলেবল আছে ইটো লৈ কিনে সাপোৰ্ট কৰিবলৈ লাগে এনে মই ভাবনা দে এইটো কাৰণে এনেকা কৰিছো বুলেটো প্ৰগ্ৰাম বেছি সাকসেসফুল হ'ব সাপা পানী বস্তি দে আহিব গড় সাপা পানী আহিব বিমাৰ না থাকিব পানী বাল থাকিলে হেলথি থাকিব আৰু মৰখান ইণ্ডিয়া টু হেলথি থাকিবলৈ মন কাৰণে গভৰ্নমেন্ট ইটো চেষ্টা কৰি আছে থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ and have a pleasant evening. Bye.